Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kim, and I want to tell you guys about the time the Lord took me from 0 to 6 figures within 24 hours. I lie not. I didn't have to do anything deceptive. I didn't have to misappropriate any funds. None of those things happened. It was all God. So let me take you back to 2020. The summer of 2020, I was pre-approved for a home. By November of 2020, I closed on that home. And this is here in Georgia. This is specifically in Locust Grove, Georgia. So during that time, Locust Grove was not really an area that a lot of people were talking about living in. They did have a small suburban community there, but when I purchased there, they were beginning to build homes. And so I went out of town. I had to go out of town for a few months to go work. So in May of 2021 was really the first time I really got an opportunity to live in my home. So it was the summer of 2021, and I told the Lord, like a private, quiet prayer, I said, I want to get into real estate. I said, but I don't want to be a realtor, and I don't want to flip houses. I just wasn't interested in, making appointments with people, walking them through houses and all the paperwork that has to go with real estate. And I also didn't want to put in a lot of sweat equity dealing with flipping homes and construction. Like, I don't have time for that. So I was like, but Lord, there's something about real estate that I really do enjoy. So I would go out. I have 2 dogs. I would go out and walk my dogs. And I remember the Lord saying, pay attention. So I'm walking through the neighborhood and I'm noticing that there's a lot of land in Locust Grove. So they're beginning to clear out trees and they're beginning to build more homes, and they're building all these homes. And there was a section that I saw the builders come in. They built these brand new homes, and then they immediately put all of them up for rent. And I was just like, I've never seen that. I've never seen that before. You build brand new homes for renting? And so I started to do my research, and I'm like, the only reason why they would do something like that is because they know about where the economy is headed. And where the economy was heading around that time, in my opinion, was a lot of people couldn't afford a mortgage. They couldn't qualify for a mortgage, but they could qualify for rent. So these investors were ahead of the game. They knew what they were dealing with. They knew what the demographic they were dealing with, and they just knew, like, hey, let's get our money any way that we can. We can't get it through, this way, we'll get it through that way. So I'm paying attention to all these things. Then I started seeing some of the houses, some of the like newer looking homes were being put up for sale. I'm like, wait a minute. Why are y'all putting your homes up for sale? So I started like going on my phone looking like, how long have these houses been here? Because they still look brand new, and they had only been there 3, 4, 5 years. But one of the big things that I noticed was they had appreciated a good amount of money, like at least like $60,000. And I'm like, whoa, if a house was purchased for $240, they're turning around trying to sell it for $320 because of the comps that were going on in the area. They were selling homes and people were buying them at the appreciated value. Fast forward to December of 2021, I'm in my house, and the Lord began to place upon my heart that it was time for me to move back to LA. So I previously worked in the film industry in Los Angeles, and that's where I did work at the beginning of 2021. I was working on a movie or on a TV show. So that did take me away from getting to know my home, but I was very blessed to have worked that show because I was able to fully furnish my home. I had a very large home. It was 5 bedrooms, had 3 bathrooms, had 2 living rooms, had a full dining. It was humongous. And so God blessed me to be able to furnish that entire home. And when I tell you, that is a testimony within itself. So we get to December, and I basically have spent all of my money that I got working on that show. I bought all my furniture, so I didn't really have any money left. And I remember that Christmas was so different because we didn't have any gifts under the Christmas tree. That was one of the first Christmases no one really had anything. Like, we were broke. But we were so grateful. And I remember it just being so peaceful. And, we still were able to have a nice, wonderful Christmas dinner. And we just went around and we just thanked God for just each other. I just really significantly remember the love surrounding that particular Christmas. So we come here to January. And so I'm with my prayer partner. I said, hey, I want you to come together with me. I want to pray about some things. I'm thinking about some things. And so I told them what I was thinking about, and they gave me a word from the Lord. regarding, me transitioning back to LA. And so that night when I went to sleep, let me fast forward a little bit. Go backward just a little bit. While I'm still trying to contemplate what I want to do, my realtor who sold me the house sends me a Christmas gift out of nowhere. It's a small gift, but it was just out of nowhere. And I said, look, here I am contemplating what to do with my home when I leave LA, and God puts the realtor back in my face. So I'm like, okay, Lord, if that's not confirmation, I don't know what is. So then I go with my prayer partner, we're praying, and the Lord gives me an option. The Lord said, you can either rent your home or you can sell your home. And he revealed this during prayer. And so I purposed in my heart, I said, I'm going to sell my house. I remember distinctly going to sleep. I went to sleep, and that night the Lord woke me up in the middle of the night, and he said to me, your home will sell fast. Be prepared. And I just remember the be prepared. And so I was like, okay. And so again, I have all this furniture. I'm not trying to put it in storage. I'm not trying to do that because I'm like, I don't have no money. I was at a place where I didn't have anything really. And I'm not thinking about what I could get from the house. I didn't know anything about selling the house. I just, whatever. I didn't know how much I would get, nothing. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to foot this bill and let me just get rid of this furniture. So I ended up blessing some people with some of the furniture, and I called my realtor and I said, hey, very carefully and gingerly, like, I think I'm thinking about selling my house. And she was like, oh, okay, great. Okay, go ahead and do this. I'll get a photographer out there. Like, she moved so fast. And I was like almost taken aback. But when I tell you that photographer came out there Monday, Wednesday, my house was live, which means that it was out on the market. By Friday, I had like 4 or 5 offers. And the first offer was the highest offer, and it was well over the asking price that I even asked for. And I said, God, you are amazing. You are amazing. And it was still so surreal. Even in that moment, I went in, to the office and signing all the paperwork. And I looked at my bank account and I was like, that's what I netted. My house had appreciated over $100,000. After I had paid my seller's cost, after I had paid my realtor, that's what I took home. And I praise God so much because he did 2 things. He blessed me greatly by allowing me to see another angle of real estate, and he just blessed me. I mean, God is so good. God is so good. But he taught me just in those moments, he taught me that real estate, that there is a different angle of real estate. And that was a different angle of real estate. Keep your credit clean. You can go out, you can buy these homes, buy in areas that are beginning to appreciate. I mean, everything is a risk. Nothing is guaranteed. But if you do your research, that's some good money. And, people talk about flipping homes, but you go through a lot of heartache and headache and flipping homes. You don't know what's going to be on the other side of that, foundation that you dig up. And then you walk away with $40,000 and, is it worth it? When all you got to do is buy a house, live in it, enjoy your life, watch it appreciate, and then get that money, honey. So I'm just so very grateful. It's not about money with me, but it is about God answering that prayer and showing me a different side of real estate. And he answered it exactly how I wanted. I said, I don't want to be a realtor and I don't want to flip houses. And he showed me another way. So that is how God did it. I went from nothing that Christmas to having all of that. I was able to bless so many people. I was able to pay off my debt. And I was able to move successfully. It was a great blessing. So I just wanted to share that story. I'm still invested in real estate. I still do go out and buy homes that I hope will appreciate soon. This is another house that I bought. This one's going to take a little time, but if it takes time, what do you do in the meantime? You rent your house. You do an Airbnb. Look, real estate is where it's at if you ask me, but ain't nobody asked me. So thank you, and God bless you for joining me. Until next time.